Hello everybody, Killer was in here, and today we'll be doing What If Deku Was Baal's Metal Vessel, Part 3. So, after the last part's weird incident, the next day was the USJ event. So, time skipped to when Class 1A was in the USJ, and the Hero 13 was explaining what is USA. And this is when Deku sensed that something was wrong. And then suddenly, a black portal showed up in the middle of the USJ. Then villains started to come out of that portal. Ochako asked, "Are those real villains?" Then Aizawa just say, "Yes, we are under attack by villains. 13, take the students to safety. I will buy you some time." As he said this, he put on his goggles and jumped down to fight the villains. Deku sees him doing this, and thinking that Aizawa cannot take out all of them on his own, he followed Aizawa, jumping down also. Bakugo saw Deku jumping down. He wanted to stop him, but a black portal appeared right in front of him, teleporting him. This also happened to the rest of the class, except for Ida, as he was saved by 13, also telling him to escape and tell the teachers. Ida complies and dashes past Kurogiri, catching him off guard. By the way, everybody got teleported to the same area as the anime. Aizawa saw Deku and asked, "Why are you here? You need to leave now." Deku refused and said, "You can't take them all alone. They will overrun you. I know that you are a pro-hero, but everyone has their limits, even heroes." Aizawa sighed and said, "Fine, just don't hold me back, or get hurt." Then they proceed to defeat the villains one by one, knocking them out. Shigaraki sees this and called in the Nomu, shouting, "Nomu, kill them!" As Nomu was about to punch Deku, Aizawa jumped in front of Deku, taking the hit, sending him flying. As Deku sees this, he was very angry. Deku used lightning armor to punch the Nomu, but the Nomu was unaffected. They kept trading blows until the Nomu overpowered Deku and threw him at Aizawa. Now Deku and Aizawa are both on the ground. This is when Shigaraki was boasting that the Nomu was built to kill All Might, and that they can never defeat him. But Deku just stand up and said, "Everything has a limit. No matter how strong you are, you still have a limit, and that is all I need to defeat you." Deku said to himself, "Baal, lend me your strength," as Deku begins to glow with a light blue aura. He summoned his sword, pointing it up, and said, "Badalak." Then a huge lightning bolt struck down from the sky and striking the Nobu, incinerating it. This was when All Might burst in through the door. Then Kurogiri showed up behind Shigaraki, telling him that they need to escape now, as All Might is here, and the Nomu, which was supposed to defeat All Might, has been disintegrated. As they escape, using Kurogiri's portal, Shigaraki curses Deku, saying that, "Damn you, brat!" As they escape, All Might chased after them, but he was too late. After Shigaraki and Kurogiri escaped, All Might defeated the rest of the villains. So, on the next day, Aizawa announced that they will have a sports festival in 2 weeks. So, for the next 2 weeks, Deku and Bakugo trained with each other, and Deku trained by himself sometimes. Now, let's talk about Bakugo with One for All. So, Bakugo in these 2 weeks learned to use Full Cow, and he can use it at max 60% of One for All without breaking his bones. But this still puts a huge toll on his body. And Deku unlocked full body Jin equip in front of Bakugo. So, it is the start of the sports festival. While Class 1A was preparing, Todoroki tells Deku that he is stronger than him, and he will defeat him. By the way, Deku registered the sword that he can summon as his support item. Now, it is the first part of the sports festival, the obstacle race. Once the countdown finishes, all the students started to rush in through the doorway. Todoroki uses ice, just like the anime. Bakugo, Momo, and many others avoid the attack. Then the colossal villain bots started attacking. Deku uses lightning to jump onto the villains, summoning his sword and slicing the robot's head off. And using the robot's body as a platform, he jumped in front, taking the lead, with Todoroki and Bakugo behind him. Then they reached the next obstacle, which is the fall. Deku jumped onto the rope between the cliffs and used it as a catapult, throwing himself high up in the air and creating a grappling gun, shooting it to the other side, and pulled himself to it. Everybody else passes just like the anime. Then is the minefield. Deku just jumped over the entire minefield. Bakugo flew over the minefield using his explosions, and Deku got first, Bakugo second, and Todoroki third. Then is the cavalry battle. While Midnight was explaining the rules, Deku thinks that since he got 10 billion points, he doesn't need to take other teams' points, and this is when Deku heard Midnight said, students must form teams of a maximum of 4 people, including 1 rider and at least 1 horse. After Deku heard this, he thought that he just need to run around and just stall for time. Then the students were given 50 minutes to form their teams. As time passes, Deku tried to find his teammates, but even though he was strong, no one wanted to join him, since his point value was too high. But then, Bakugo walked up to Deku, asking him if he could join him. Deku was shocked to see Bakugo walked up to him willingly. Deku asked him why he wanted to join him. Bakugo said that because I don't want to fight you until I must. Because Bakugo knows how strong Deku is. So Deku's team consists of Bakugo, the rider, Kirishima, Ochako, and himself. And the result is the same as the anime, but Zero, Ibara, Hatsume, and Ayama won't be there because their team was different from the anime and their team lost. After that is the last part of the sports festival, the 1 versus 1 battle, and I'll leave that for the next part. I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and thanks for watching.